Alright, so on the coattails of everyone being mad as hell about Byleth, Nintendo confirmed that we're getting a second Fighter's Pass. Only this time we're getting 6 characters. I know I haven't done a video like this in a while, but I figured it was time to whip out my unwarranted predictions for the next 6 characters. And before we do that, let me know down in the comment section how you feel about Byleth joining the roster. I did a reaction video, and I'll admit, I was definitely disappointed in the initial reveal. Well, hang on.
Are you prepared to die?
I'm prepared to die right now. I'm a little underwhelmed. I'm not a Fire Emblem Ultra fan. In fact, the only Fire Emblem game I've played was Three Houses, and I didn't even finish it. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. I was initially disappointed, and I was pretty vocal about it in my reaction, but I think I've come around more since then because Byleth's moveset looks like a lot of fun. Basically what I'm trying to say here is they don't have a down B counter. Let me know how you feel though, and please try to keep the toxicity to a minimum, which I know can sometimes be hard for this fandom, and we have over 80 characters in this game, but people somehow still find ways to never be satisfied. Okay, let's talk about the future. 6 new characters. It's pretty wild, man. And kudos to Nintendo for supporting this game for 3 years post-launch, and who knows how long afterwards. We've seen now that with the first wave of DLC that Nintendo is not shy about dropping in first-party characters, which is rad because a lot of requests are for more first-party characters. And that's not to say that we're definitely going to get more first-party characters or more third-party characters, but what I'm saying is it's possible. So drop those wish lists down in the comment section, but please don't give me shit like Goku and Naruto. Don't be that naive. Also, come into this discussion with an open mind, and let's leave the smooth brain comments like spirits deconfirm out of this because I don't think Nintendo planned this far ahead. So I think the first fighter, without a doubt, is going to be Crash Bandicoot. He is absent from a game that he seems like he's destined to be in. And I've had this discussion in past videos, and Crash is actually one of my earliest predictions, but he's had multiple games on the Switch. His moveset is perfect. I mean, he's an anthropomorphic Bandicoot, which would fit right in amongst the others. His moveset is already baked in. He could throw Wumpa Fruits, he could spin, slide, counter with a Aku. It's a no-brainer. And I feel like alt colors can be similar to Banjo. It's just a question of whether Activision wants to play nice with Nintendo, or I guess if Nintendo even wants him in the first place. We also need to realize that Nintendo, in some cases, is going to do what's best for business. I think Byleth specifically was to promote the new Three Houses DLC, but a character like Banjo was purely fan service. Next up is Geno. And here come the Spirits Deconfirm squad, but hear me out. Yes, he's a spirit, but I said earlier, I don't think Nintendo knew this far out that they were going to be adding an additional 12 characters to the roster. And Sakurai knows how popular he is, and to be demoted from a Mii costume to a spirit still doesn't make any sense to me. You know he was brought up in that Square meeting, so where is he? I think when they sat down to talk about Hero, they bargained for Geno as part of the second Fighter's Pass because they weren't just going to drop 2 Square characters in the same pass. That's just me personally, and I'll continue to live in my delusional dream world until the final character's announced, and Geno's still not in the game, but someone has to keep the dream alive. Third is Dante, and this one is ironic because a lot of us went into Thursday morning with the expectation that it was going to be him, and I think that's mainly because it coincided with the tweet that came from the official Devil May Cry Twitter, which had a bunch of dates regarding the Switch version of DMC3, which just turned out to be a huge coincidence. Whoops. I've never touched Devil May Cry, but I know there's more than enough meat on those bones for a solid moveset. Virgil can also be an alt, which is something that I read on Twitter and decided to do zero research for. On a final note, Capcom and Nintendo are friendly enough where this boy is a good shot. On the topic of maturity with Snake and Bayonetta in the game, I don't think it's even a question anymore if Dante's eligible. Fourth, we have Dr. Eggman. And this one will likely piss off all the people longing for Shadow, but I think Eggman is way more deserving of a spot, and could have a way more interesting kit than Shadow. I also understand that Shadow doesn't have to be an exact clone of Sonic because of the Chaos Emeralds and, you know. The way I see Dr. Eggman working is like Tron Bonne in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He's got the mech that he fights in, and maybe he could have some kind of gimmick like Diva from Overwatch. Destroy the robot, Eggman fights on his own, the meter fills up, he gets back in the robot. I know, this is super wishful thinking, but do you know how cool that would be? I'm sorry, Shadow fans. I want the Eggman. We have Bowser and Ganondorf. We need another big baddie. Fifth is another Pokemon, and before you all roll your eyes into the back of your head because I was disappointed in another Fire Emblem character, we know that Nintendo is going to look to promote Sword and Shield, especially with the 2 waves of DLC coming out this year. And who knows how many following it. As for which Pokemon, I guess a starter would be the most obvious pick here. I mean, I would main the hell out of Ice-Q, which is my favorite Pokemon from Sword and Shield, but let's be realistic. It would probably be Rillaboom, because we have fire and water starters from previous gens. But aside from Ivysaur, a grass starter is absent. Do we even count Ivysaur, though? Then last but not least, we have Rayman. You hear Rayman talked about a lot, and now with Ubisoft participating in DLC with the Rabbids and the Altair costumes, it almost seems like it's inevitable. Rayman has also participated in Brawlhalla, the platform fighter from Mammoth Games that Ubisoft just straight up bought and dropped him in, so we know Rayman's got the hands already. That's basically my pseudo predictions wish list, and feel free to swap in Waluigi in there for any of those 6. Do I think he has an honest shot? I'm not sure, but the fan cry for him is louder than it's ever been, and I think Nintendo knows it. Also, feel free to make a mental note of those characters and come back to ridicule me every time I'm wrong. Next up, I decided to turn to Twitter to get your most wanted characters for the second Fighters Pass, and I wanted to weigh in on some of my favorite answers. And you guys could tweet them at me, or you can put them down in the comment section, but I think what I'm really saying here is, go follow me on Twitter. Ratchet and Clank. I would love to see this, especially knowing that a duo fighter can work, even though nobody plays them. Ratchet and Clank also have a legacy of games that can be referenced for a moveset, complete with an endless number of weapons. So I'm about it. Steve from Minecraft. This one is one of the more popular requests, and it's a bit of a touchy subject. And I think Steve could work somewhere in between Mr. Game & Watch and Link, but if I can be realistic without upsetting the Minecraft fanbase, I think he's going to end up being a costume. Ryu Hayabusa. Here's another character that we've heard a lot of rumors on, and none of them ever really seem to pan out. And he could be a cool addition. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to happen, but I think it's likely. Sora, another character that has a huge fan base because Kingdom Hearts is wildly popular, and I think we will eventually see Sora in a Smash game. But will it be this one? I know Disney said that they'd be cool with it, and don't fact check that because I don't even know if that's true. But Nintendo building their new theme park in Universal, you would imagine would probably ruffle some feathers. You know, feathers, because Donald is a duck. Maxwell from Scribblenauts. I don't know if this one is a troll or not, because my dude here added the LMAO, but you never know. Reimu. I don't know anything about this character, nor the game that she hails from, but what I do know is this is not the first time I've seen anybody request her. Master Chief. Chief is another one that comes to mind because Halo is one of the biggest franchises in gaming. And I put Doomguy or Doomslayer and Master Chief kind of in the same category because I think their movesets would be similar. But now that Banjo is in the mix and Nintendo and Microsoft have been working together in the past couple of years on crossplay, I don't think it's out of the question for something that's going to happen eventually. Travis Touchdown. Here's one that I thought would be a part of the first Fighters Pass, and I've mentioned it in previous videos. Given No More Heroes' track record on Nintendo consoles, but it hasn't happened yet, and it may never. I also haven't played No More Heroes, so I can't really get into potential, but if Phoenix Wright can make it into a fighting game, really anybody can. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave the Bandana D fans high and dry, and this is another character that you hear about a lot, but personally, I don't get the appeal. But Piranha Plant opened the door on baddies of that caliber, so I think the possibility is high to definitely join a Smash game one day. I don't know if it's going to be during this Fighters Pass. Maybe if Nintendo ends up doing one-off characters post-second Fighters Pass. But regardless of the characters we get, I'm always down for more content, and with that being said, I'm excited to give Byleth a go. I don't know if you guys are, but I am. And again, feel free to discuss down in the comment section, but please don't be toxic. Also, click the sub button if you're not subbed. We're a bit away from 250k, but I am planning a very big giveaway when we get there, and every sub counts. Later.